Welcome to Bias Bash. I'm Lauren Green. Some members of the media are facing criticism for how they reported on recent remarks given by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie at the state's Legislative Correspondents Club show. Now, while the event normally doesn't garner much of headlines, Christie's choice to use several curse words aimed at the media raised many eyebrows, and the press jumped on the opportunity to report on it. Here with reaction is Ellen Ratner, Bureau Chief of Talk Radio News Service and a Fox News contributor. Welcome, Ellen.
Well, thank you very much.
So these events are supposed to be in bad taste, right?
They're supposed to be in bad taste. And you know what's interesting? I've been covering things for over 22 years in Washington and New York, and I'll tell you something interesting. It is when things were off the record, or there's a word embargoed, which means you can't report on something before a certain time. Nobody used to break that rule. Now, anything's open. You know, people have all these cell phones and cameras and everything, camera watches, I guess, even now. And so they report on it. But that was never the rule. So the question is, yes, the press is reporting on what Governor Christie said, but are they reporting on themselves and the breaking of rules that all of us have abided by for many years? That's the question. How come nobody's taking a look at that issue?
See, and I guess what the explanation is that even though Chris Christie, yes, said some curse words and was a very, irreverent towards the press, he was responding to a lot of things that they said about him, which is all part of the gag for that evening, right? I mean, some of the things that they said were pretty bad.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, that's also what was not really reported, because there are some, there was a satirical show that happened. There was a bunch of other, there was a song called Nacho Man, which, because of Chris Christie's eating nachos apparently after he had had a stomach operation. Well, how come people aren't reporting on what happened there? And so that is what is of concern. Now, let's be honest. There was one time during a dinner in Washington that Nancy Reagan did a dance called Secondhand Clothes to Secondhand Rose, because she was reported to have spent all this money on clothing. Now, that was one time that the press reported on it, but it wasn't like the whole show, and it wasn't like every word that Nancy Reagan said. And here you have Chris Christie in a show that is supposed to be off the record. It's supposed to be a time that press and their objects of reporting, such as Governor Christie, can have a fun night and not have it go everywhere, but it did.
Well, now, even so, I mean, shouldn't Chris Christie have known that perhaps maybe not using the F-bomb or the S word, maybe he could have used something else, and maybe it wouldn't have been so incendiary for the press to report on. Maybe that would have been the better choice, even though it was supposed to be off the record.
Well, of course, in retrospect, it was a better choice, and he shouldn't have used it, probably. And he should know that in these days of off-the-record reporting, somebody is going to break that. And that is unfortunately what's happened. There isn't such a thing as off-the-record anymore, and that's unfortunate. And a lot of people break, quote-unquote, embargoes. So I think that it's a brand-new world out there, and you're right. Governor Christie should have known, but also the press should have kept to their rules.
Oh, great. Thanks so much, Ellen. And if you want to hear more media analysis on this topic, catch Media Buzz with Howard Kurtz, Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern and again at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Fox News Channel. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.